I go by the name of Barakah. The name Barakah signify a change, a rebirth in my life. It means blessings. My life is full of blessings in spite of some of the serious mistakes I have made in the past. I am 64 years old, will be 65 in January. I spent 43 and a half years in Michigan prison. I went to prison in 1975 and I returned home in 2017 in July. It was just before I went in, just after my 17th birthday, and came home just before my 60th birthday. Even though I maintain my innocence today, I was convicted not as a principal, as assessor. You know, I was said to have took and told someone to commit an act, okay? And I never done that. I never done that. When the police interrogated me, they say, we know that you haven't killed anybody, but we know that you know who did. And in my belligerence, in my youth, I became belligerent with the law enforcement. And they promised me, we'll make sure you do a whole lot of time. And they done just that. They done just that out of my belligerence to them. But I still hold myself accountable and responsible for having a firearm in that car the night the gentleman got killed. I also hold myself accountable for having left the scene of an argument and went around a corner and allowed that firearm to be taken out the trunk of the car that I was operating. I hold myself accountable for going back to that scene. I hold myself accountable for allowing one of those youths in the car to handle that gun, knowing that I and every other youth in that car had been intoxicated and that there had been a previous argument between the occupants of the vehicle and the individual that was killed. I hold myself responsible for that. And when I was in prison, I became aware of the harm that I had did. What it means to commit a crime as a youth or to commit wrong as a youth, it means that one day you will grow out of that folly. You will grow out of that spontaneous behavior of being thoughtless to a responsible person. That type of sentence will tell you that society, everyone that you live with here on this earth, is incapable of forgiving you. Everyone on this earth is incapable of forgiving you. That's what that sentence means. And one of the significant or most significant things, as far as I'm concerned, that the U.S. Supreme Court said is that most of the children that were sentenced to mandatory life in prison without the possibility of parole are actually innocent of those sentences. Not the crime, but the sentence. At the time of the U.S. Supreme Court decision, there was almost 3,000 children in this nation's prison. And we're only talking about those who were under 18. Since I've been home, I took and got into grad school at the University of Michigan School of Social Work. I'm now a graduate, and the place where I did my field work, which was the Detroit Justice Center, very dynamic law firm, movement attorneys. I am now an extern there and a member of their board of directory. And I'm very proud and grateful for that opportunity. This interview, understanding, is in support of pending legislation to abolish the possibility of even sentencing a child to life in prison without the possibility of parole. There are 25 states presently that prohibit to sentencing a child to life in prison without the possibility of parole. We now see that there is support, bipartisan support for the legislation. Safe and Just Michigan has played a very significant role to taking, like they do in the case of most of the grassroots organizations here in Michigan. When we come up with policy ideas and so forth, they put it together in terms of how it can be presented to lawmakers, and they walk us through the halls of the state legislative house and introduce us to lawmakers. They brief us on who to talk to, where to go, etc. And so we are very much assisted in Lansing by Safe and Just Michigan, and we're very thankful for that. Remind you that 25 other states have already did what we asked in Michigan to do. When a child show that kind of harm, is because it's only been entered into the child, because no child is born bad. No child is born bad. No matter what you attribute, what accusation, whether it is valid or invalid, no child is born bad. And that's our responsibility. That's our collective responsibility. And taking and putting that away is not resolving the issue. It's only hiding the issue. It's only allowing it to fester. Prison is not the answer to everything. And we live in a democracy. It's definitely not the answer in a democracy. A democracy is a place where we should value freedom. We need all of us to begin to advocate to each other, to be able to give each other grace, to be able to give each other a sense of mercy and forgiveness. Even on your worst day, learn to forgive, even on your worst day. Thank you. Thank you.